Welcome back, football fanatics, to Gridiron Tales. I'm your host, and if you thought last week was intense, strap yourselves in, because today we're diving headfirst into the frozen tundra, the black and blue division, and a rivalry as old as the league itself. We're talking about more than just a game. We're talking about generations of animosity, legendary battles, and the kind of hatred that only the purest football rivalries can forge. Every hit, every taunt, every hard-fought yard fuels the fire. Today, we're not just focusing on one play, but on 100 years of them. A blood feud that has defined conferences, crowned champions, and broken hearts. This isn't just a rivalry. It's a cornerstone of the National Football League. Two charter members, separated by just a few miles, but worlds apart in their disdain for one another. A rivalry that boasts more Hall of Famers, more historic moments, and more sheer, unadulterated bad blood than almost any other in professional sports. We're talking about the oldest and arguably the fiercest rivalry in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. This is Gridiron Tales, Episode 2, Rivalry Chronicles, Packers versus Bears, the NFL's oldest feud. Let's journey back to the dawn of professional football and explore the roots of this legendary animosity. The year is 1921. The American Professional Football Association, soon to be the NFL, is in its infancy. Teams are rough, fields are rougher, and the game? It's a brutal ballet fought by men in leather helmets. Enter the Staley Sweethearts of Decatur, Illinois, soon to become the Chicago Staleys, and then the mighty Chicago Bears, led by the legendary George Halas. And from the north, a small-town team funded by the Indian Packing Company, the Green Bay Packers. Their first meeting, a Packers victory. But it wasn't just a game. It was the planting of a seed of rivalry that would blossom into a century-long conflict. These early games weren't for the faint of heart. Think frozen fields, minimal padding, and a brand of football that was as much about survival as it was about scoring. The animosity was immediate, fueled by proximity, by pride, and by the sheer physicality of the era. Figures like Halas for the Bears, a player, coach, and owner, a founding father of the league. And for the Packers, Curly Lambeau, another player-coach pioneer. These weren't just teams. They were extensions of these iron-willed men. As the NFL grew, so did the intensity of this rivalry. Both franchises would experience golden eras, often at each other's expense. Think of the 1960s Green Bay Packers under Vince Lombardi. 5 NFL championships, including the first 2 Super Bowls. And who were their most bitter rivals? The team they had to constantly overcome in the brutal Central Division? The Chicago Bears. Then, fast forward to the mid-1980s, the '85 Chicago Bears, the Super Bowl shuffle, one of the most dominant, most intimidating defenses the league has ever seen. The 46 defense, terrorizing quarterbacks, and their clashes with the Packers during that era, pure, unadulterated warfare. We're talking about bone-jarring hits that you could hear in the cheap seats, late-game heroics that snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, controversial calls that fans still argue about decades later, games played in blizzards and mud, in conditions that would make lesser men quit. Names like Dick Butkus and Mike Singletary for the Bears, epitomizing defensive ferocity. Ray Nitschke and Willie Wood for the Packers, matching that intensity. Quarterback battles, Sid Luckman versus Don Hutson in the early days, Jim McMahon versus Lynn Dickey, and of course, the modern era.
The arrival of Brett Favre in Green Bay in the 1990s reignited the Packers' fortunes and poured fresh gasoline on the rivalry's fire. Favre, the Iron Man gunslinger, loved nothing more than beating the Bears. His duels against Chicago defenses were legendary, filled with improbable throws and a childlike enthusiasm that drove Bears fans crazy. And then came Aaron Rodgers. If Bears fans thought Favre was a thorn in their side, Rodgers became a full-blown nightmare. His infamous "I still own you" taunt to the Chicago crowd perfectly encapsulated decades of Packers dominance in the more recent chapters of this feud. But don't think for a second the Bears just rolled over. They've had their moments of triumph, their periods of resurgence, their own playoff runs, often with crucial, hard-fought victories over their northern nemesis. Think of the Lovie Smith-era defenses, or moments when a new Bears quarterback brought fresh hope.
No matter the team's records, no matter who was favored, when the Packers and Bears met, you knew you were in for a dogfight. The intensity never waned. The hatred, passed down through generations of fans, remained pure. So what is it about Packers-Bears that makes it so special, so enduring? Is it the geographical proximity? Just a short drive separates these two heartland cities. Is it the sheer length of time, over 200 meetings, more than any other rivalry in the NFL? Perhaps it's the perceived clash of identities, the small-town publicly owned Packers versus the big city monsters of the Midway Bears. Or maybe it's the grudging respect that underlies the animosity. Both franchises are steeped in history, foundational pillars of the league. They need each other, in a strange way, to define themselves. And of course, it's the fans. Generations growing up despising the other team's colors, passing that tradition down to their kids. It's more than a game. It's a family affair, a cultural touchstone. The Packers versus the Bears. It's not just a series of games, it's a living, breathing chronicle of NFL history. A testament to how passion, pride, and proximity can forge a rivalry that stands the test of time, evolving with each generation, but never losing its core, its grit, its beautiful, brutal essence. And that's the final whistle on this historic edition of Gridiron Tales. What are your most vivid memories from the Packers-Bears rivalry? Which side of this ancient feud do you stand on? Let us know. Share your Packers-Bears stories in the comments below. If this dive into NFL's oldest feud got you fired up, smash that like button. Subscribe to the Peak Tales for more Gridiron Tales. And make sure you crank that notification bell so you never miss another chapter from the annals of football history. Thanks for joining us in the trenches. Until next time, remember the rivalries that make this game legendary.